Restarts are a lot of fun to watch at this racetrack. They're tough for the drivers, though, because you can block low, but you open up the middle. If you block high, you also open up the middle. One way or another, you're going to be 3 wide at some point in this race going into turn 1. You got to try to avoid contact. Anything that's going to knock off the momentum of your car off of turn 2, you're going to have even more people trying to attack you down the back straightaway, Kim.
Well, Junior, as we look at drivers who could have a really strong day today, you cannot ignore Parker Kligerman. He finished top 4 in the last 2.5-mile races, including a runner-up finish at Texas. And although the 48 is no longer in the title run, there's still a lot to race for in terms of points position. And when I talked with the team this morning, they told me they had to work on the car a little bit in yesterday's practice to get it to Parker's liking. They said it was really rough on the bumps and on the splitter, but with the adjustments they made, Dave, they think they have a top 5 car here today.
Kim, Josh Berry has not won in 2023, but his teammates have won 4 of the last 8 races this year. So there is speed at the Junior Motorsports Camp. And even though he was eliminated from the playoffs last week at the Roval, he hasn't lost pace. He's on the pole today. Josh Berry will lead him to green, Marty.
Dave, so much has been made about Cole Custer's move from full-time Cup racing to full-time Xfinity Series racing. And he admits early in this season, he struggled with having to relearn how to drive an Xfinity Series car. The low point of all that happened here in the spring. He said, we were terrible in that race, he told me. And he said, that moment I knew we had to do things differently. I had to do things differently. And I've had this one circled for a long time. I feel like we have a car that can win the race today. And what a turnaround that would be, Rick, from what the team thinks was their low point of the year here earlier this year. Could they maybe win today and advance to the championship 4? It might just happen.
Yeah, Marty, and that is such an important position to be able to win this race, the first of this round, and you can even start preparing for Phoenix a little bit earlier than everyone else. We see the Toyota GR Supra. That is the official pace car for today's Xfinity Series playoff race out in front of the field. Just a little bit further back in the field is the 7 of Justin Allgaier. He is starting in the 4th row, and here's a little pep talk from their team.
Round of 8, first one. Vegas, you've led a lot here. It's time to take this thing to the house.
I could not agree with you more on that statement right there, buddy. We may not win the championship today, but man, we can make it a lot easier to go there and have a good weekend.
So a lot of focus already. Looking forward to Phoenix, and it's so important to start off this round well.
Well, a good start is kind of imperative, but what he was just talking about, what Justin says there, is real. You win this race, while there are still 2 other races, you're locked in, so you have time. We make it sound like these teams have endless resource, and they do have a lot of resource, but where you put that energy, and if you know you're locked into Phoenix, you can kind of focus purely on that race. I think that is a big advantage.
What Junior talked about as far as restart is going to happen here on the first start of the race.
Yeah, in Las Vegas in general, we're looking at 3 and 4 up ahead. It's a smoother end of the racetrack. Lower grip, the way the sun kind of beats down on 3 and 4, but they'll drop the green on the front stretch. When they go into 1 and 2, the top of the racetrack, longer distance but smoother. As you go down the banking towards the white line at the bottom, there's more bumps kind of over the tunnel at that end of the racetrack. So we'll see if that becomes an issue on these restarts.
It's also very tempting to jump up and make it 3 wide, enter in turn 1, try to pick up as many spots as you can. That part of the racetrack has not been used so far this weekend. Who will be brave enough to try it first?
It's Cole Custer and Josh Berry making up row 1. Josh Berry on the outside, Cole Custer on the inside as we start off the round of 8 from Vegas.
Green 5, green 5.
3 wide as they go through 1 and 2. Down the Nellis backstretch. It's still a fight for the lead. Now Josh Berry on the outside. With the momentum, he's going to clear the 0-0.
You saw how much he disturbed the air of the 0-0. Being on the outside made the car very loose. And now you see the damage. 0-0 out of the gas. Momentum lost. And that 16 of Chandler Smith, we just talked to him on the pace laps. Dominant here in the spring. He moves to 2nd.
Still a fight now for the 4th spot as they're side by side. Allgaier with momentum in that 7. He moves up to the back bumper of Daniel Hemrick in the 10. Sammy Smith in the 18.
That car on the bottom, Sammy Smith, car just does not drive very well with the 10 car on the outside of you. These Xfinity cars, very temperamental to the air. It's hard to drive the car in the corner as deep as you want to. Hard to get back in the gas because that car is taking the air off yours, taking downforce away.
Saw Parker Retzlaff drifting up the racetrack just a bit as the 7 really has a lot of momentum. Parker Retzlaff in the 31.
Yeah, in the back of the screen, big move right there. You saw the 1 car. He's all the way up to 8th.
Sam Mayer trying to take that 7th spot away now.
He started 14.
Oh, already smoke coming out of the 53, and looks like a problem for Patrick Emmerling.
Yeah, that's right in the middle of the front stretch. You see all the smoke before he hit the outside wall.
Yeah,
I think that's
fluid.
the first wall contact, so it looks like a major mechanical issue under the hood, like an oil line has come off, Jeff, or something. That tons of oil in his own oil. You see the shine on the right rear tire.
Yeah, there's oil all over the racetrack. So, yeah, oil line off, blown engine, some sort of mechanical issue for sure.
There you saw it, the 53. Smoke rolling out the back, and the first caution comes out at Las Vegas. It's for Patrick Emmerling, as it looks like the engine has expired for that team. That means a restart when we return to Vegas. NASCAR Fan Rewards is free to join. You can earn points by watching races or answering trivia, play fantasy, buy race tickets, and more. Save your points. You can trade them in for free tickets, autographed merchandise. There's exclusive gear and a one-of-a-kind race day experiences. So visit NASCAR.com/fan-rewards. If you've never been to Vegas, it is definitely an experience. The new Sphere, you see that in the background there. It doesn't look real, but it is.
Staring at my room since I got here. That crazy guy.
Yeah, all the talk about that addition to the Vegas skyline. Kim.
Well, John Hunter Nemechek has worked his way up to the 19th position after starting from the back of the field, and this caution plays into exactly what the team wanted. Crew Chief Ben Bayshore told me an early caution would serve us well for two reasons. It wouldn't get the field too strung out, and then it would give John Hunter the opportunity to hopscotch some extra cars with a restart. Right now, they just got to stay ahead of the track. They're telling John Hunter. He said he fired off just a little tight, Marty.
Kim, Sam Mayer's already gained 4 positions since the start of the race, right now in the 8th spot. And they really felt like the warmer conditions today versus practice and qualifying yesterday are going to play in their hands. And they are right so far. Already almost close to 30 degrees warmer today here in Las Vegas than it was for practice and qualifying. Marty Lindley banked on that. Sam Mayer counted on it as well. So far, just a handful of laps in, Dave, but looking good for the one team.
Marty, yesterday, Riley Herbst had a great qualifying run, 8th, but that was after a little damage in practice. So Davin Restivo was a crew chief. Davin, how hard was the decision to go to the back, having to make repairs?
Yeah, I mean, we had a little bit of damage, and the way the damage was, it made it to where the car wasn't 100% legal to NASCAR standards, so they wanted it fixed, so we didn't really have much of a choice. So we fixed it, got it fixed up for him here today, and charged forward.
From the back, how is it so far?
So far, it's been pretty good. He's taking it easy a little bit, not giving it 110% just yet, but so far it's been pretty good, and balance is okay right now. We'll see where it goes. It's got a long race to go.
Very good, thank you. And that's an update on the hometown boy, Riley Herbst.
Yeah, you mentioned hometown boy. He's been busy since he's been able to come back. He was out here on Thursday to paint the line pink. That was an event they had here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. They're going pink for National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Riley Herbst, who's a Las Vegas native, as well as the president of Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Chris Powell, and South Point GM, Ryan Groney. They joined the American Cancer Society of Nevada to paint the start-finish line pink and black checkers. And also we saw Tabitha Burton, who gave the command earlier, a breast cancer survivor.
Yeah, Marcus Smith, the Smith family, everyone at SMI, such a huge supporter. We see it here. We see it at Charlotte Motor Speedway a week ago at the Roval. So a shout out really to that entire organization and what they're willing to do and support such a great cause.
Bringing awareness. And again, we're under caution. They're doing track cleanup right now. Because of that, the 53 of Patrick Emmerling, engine blowing up on that one and putting a little oil down on the track. Tonight on NBC and Peacock, Notre Dame football. Fighting Irish welcome Caleb Williams and the 10th ranked USC Trojans to South Bend. Coverage starts at 7 p.m. Eastern.
It's a monster matchup, Rick. Monster matchup. See if Notre Dame can have a little bounce back against USC. Well, a bounce back from a poor qualifying effort. Well, actually no qualifying effort due to a mechanical issue. Remember, we talk about John Hunter Nemechek starting at the back of the field, and this is what it looks like when you have a good car and you have to make time early. This is 3 wide. Listen to the spotter.
That mid lane is backing up. 2 top. 3 top. 2. Mid's clear. Nice and patient with this pink one here in front. This 2 top and by 3 behind you.
Spotter letting him know which one he thinks has the momentum, which one doesn't. And then this is a perfect example right here. John Hunter being patient, nowhere to go. He waits for this to open up. 98 of Riley Herbst goes to the bottom. He drives through in the middle. That gets John Hunter all the way up to 19th. So I actually think this yellow is a big opportunity for John Hunter Nemechek, and we're going to see this next restart with this beautiful Toyota onboard. I think you're looking at maybe not that many cars. Close you get to the front, cars get a little faster, but I feel very confident, Rick, that stage points, only 9 spots in front of him with 36 laps, he has a high chance to get them.
And when we talked to him yesterday, he made that comment. He said, I'm going to get up there and get stage points in stage 1. So aggressively working his way toward the front, but doing it in a very smart manner. As we get ready for the restart, this time it's Chandler Smith that's on the inside of Josh Berry on the outside, and back to racing.
Go.
Nose to tail on that inside line. And that's going to get Chandler Smith out in front of Berry now. And does the field have to worry about this after we saw Chandler Smith lead 118 laps here in the spring?
Colleague teammates teamed up on that inside line to do that perfectly. Now Josh Berry trying to get to that outside corner. Can't do it on corner exit here. He tried to get to the outside.
Oh, 2 cars in the wall there.
Yeah, it looked like the 31. Parker Retzlaff got right up against the wall.
16 car Chandler Smith took the lead on the bottom. Josh Berry using the second lane, trying to get some momentum built up for straightaway speed, up the racetrack a little bit.
Here comes Cole Custer in the 00, closing the gap now on second.
Yeah, Josh going to have to get a little defensive, not worry about the lead now, and try to focus on keeping that 00 car behind him.
Caution's come back out again.
Big contact here with the outside wall for the 38 car.
Joe Graff Jr., a lot of damage, and that was just on the exit of turn 4.
I'm wondering what contact might have happened to make that car get into the fence like that. It's with the radio communication. Seems to maybe have had a disagreement with another driver on the racetrack.
He was running 30th.
What is the 25 doing?
Okay.
And he's calling out the Brett Moffitt driven number 25. Moffitt hit the wall.
Yeah, Moffitt just gets up the racetrack, gets into the fence. He has to come out of the gas, right, to try to lessen the impact, slow the car down. And the impact of him hitting the wall slows the car down as well. And Joe just had nowhere to go, runs in the back, runs in the left rear quarter panel of the 25 car. I'm sure that Moffitt certainly didn't want to get anybody else mixed up in his mistake. You see the AMR crew tending to the driver, the 38.
So Joe Graff Jr. brings out the second caution of the day at Vegas. Only 13 laps in to stage 1. A little contact with the wall for Brett Moffitt, and the 38 checks up, goes around, and also heavy contact with the outside wall.
Speedway, baby. Got it. Let's go! That's how you never give up! Let's go!
To the round of 8 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Whoever can get the job done, whoever can win is going to be the one to make it to that Final Four.
If we can get there, then we're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
And winning the championship is everything at this level.
There would be nothing cooler than to stand on that stage at Phoenix.
You're watching the NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs from Las Vegas. It's the Alsco uniforms 302. Big announcement for the 96 driver just recently, or excuse me, 92 driver, Kim.
Yeah, Josh Williams, we know what a champion for children he is. He makes children's hospital visits in every local market. He visits across the season, but this week he and his wife Trey Ray announced they will be expecting a baby girl in March of 2024. You see the video there. They ate the cupcake. There was pink icing in the inside, so we will be welcoming a new member to the NASCAR family come next spring. I talked with Josh this morning in the garage. He had a huge smile on his face, and he just said, I had to give you guys something to talk about. So again, March 2024, we look forward to welcoming Josh and Trey Ray's new baby girl.
Exciting news there for that young couple. Again, Josh, the driver of the 92, 30-year-old out of Port Charlotte, Florida. I think Josh jumped onto the scene when he parked the car right at the start-finish line, then walked back into the garage after NASCAR told him to park it. That made news for the driver of the 92. And with more on Sam Mayer, let's go to Marty.
Rick, the first run of the day to the caution number 1 for Sam Mayer, pretty good. The second run of the day, not so much. Listen in.
Yeah, I guess that's the biggest thing, protecting that right rear. Stability, like I can't, like if someone drives to my inside, it's almost like I can't even defend it. I'm just kind of like in my own no man's land right here.
It'll come around, bud, I promise you. You'll be screaming snug before you know it.
That's funny, Steve. Marty Lindley kind of chiming to his young driver. You got to trust me here a little bit. And the point behind that is with all these cautions really going to change the way these cars handle the further they go through these runs. These heat cycles on the tire, Steve, that does change the way a car will handle on the track.
Yeah, I mean, basically you run onto green, the tire gets all the way up to temperature, and then ride around in the yellow, they cool off, and every time they do that, it really changes the aero balance. But I agree with the crew chief of the one. I think overall these cars are going to build tight, making the front ends not quite as positive as they want through the middle of the corner.
We talked earlier about Parker Retzlaff in the 31 car. Great qualifying effort. 5th place. May have made some contact. Let's take a look. Retzlaff is doing some good work in this car over the last several weeks. That's pretty light contact. I mean, these cars are pretty tough. We're going to see them do much more than that next week at Homestead. So hopefully I believe he'll be okay and be able to continue on.
How many laps are we going to see before they get closer to the wall here?
Yeah, I think around lap 19 or 20 is when the field was starting to use the top of the racetrack in turn 3 and 4 the last race here. So that's what I would be looking for. And turn 3 and 4 is where they tend to go to the wall soonest, because it is the end of the track with less grip. It's in the sun throughout the day longer. It's bleached out and more. It's a little bit slicker than the other end of the racetrack in turn 1 and 2.
Dave, how about the driver who's running 4th right now, Daniel Hemrick?
He actually chooses inside row 2, Rick, for this restart. That's Daniel Hemrick, now eliminated from the playoffs, but just by 2 points. Remember the finish last week? It was so incredible. After Sam Mayer dominated the day, Daniel Hemrick tried his best to win this right here, this race to the line. That would have at least tied him and put him through with the tiebreaker. That 10 car worked hard. When I talked to Daniel this weekend, you could just sense a little bit of sadness, but also a little bit of relief. 4 races to go. They feel like they can win together. Remember, his sights are set on the Cup Series next year. So there's just a feeling that Hemrick can go out there and do something, getting to victory lane with 4 races here yet to go.
And you remember Daniel Hemrick, when he won his championship, it was his first career win in any of the top 3 series. And it happened in the final turns of the track at Phoenix to get that win.
You're talking about how this track changes. Remember, the 16 car Chandler Smith, he got the lead from Josh Berry on the bottom. But he took the top on this restart because he believes on a little bit older tire, a little bit hotter racetrack, you're going to be better off and be able to be in the throttle more on the outside than you were earlier in the day.
Coming back to the restart zone, this time Chandler Smith is going to be on the outside, Josh Berry on the inside as they get back to the gas. Looks like Daniel Hemrick fell back to the nose of the 7 of Allgaier that checked up that inside line.
See that outside at the front row? It worked. Chandler Smith's idea about being able to use that outside, also the 00 of Cole Custer, both were able to get by the 8 of Berry.
Sheldon Creed using that high side to the extreme down in turn 1 and 2 and continues to do it. Jumps to the outside here in the tri-oval. Going to be 3 wide down here to turn 1. Made up several spots on this restart using that 3rd groove. That's tight right there off of turn 2 down the back straightaway.
The opposite approach, Austin Hill, the 21 car, he just went to the bottom and got 2 spots on that restart, running the very bottom of the racetrack.
Sheldon Creed seeing the advantage of that momentum. Creed in the 2 using the higher line through 3 and 4 and immediately got to the back bumper of Parker Retzlaff.
Out through the middle almost, considering going to the middle right there around Parker. He's going to fall in line to the bottom, or now to the middle of the racetrack. The 31 slides up the racetrack a little bit. Sheldon Creed looking pretty aggressive right here early in this race. It's what he's going to have to do to make a statement in these playoffs.
Now on the bottom, but still moving forward. He's going to clear the 31 of Retzlaff.
I was impressed by that because the 31 was rather tight on his door, a situation that usually is bad for the inside car, but he was able to throttle up and drive out of that situation to be able to put the side force back on the number 2 car and take the spot.
31 didn't have the speed it needs in the middle of the corner. I don't know if a little bit of damage got into the wall, a little bit of right front fender damage, maybe a little bit suspension damage. He just does not roll the center of the corner. So when you see that, you have to attack him.
And there's John Hunter Nemechek continuing his drive through the field. This car is dominant. Look at him drive up and move the 2 aerodynamically up off the bottom of the racetrack. It gets to the back bumper of that 2 car. And the 2 car has to lift, chase the car off the racetrack. The 20 turning down low underneath, not bothered by the dirty air on the nose, able to make the pass.
Inside the top 10, so Nemechek, he called his shot yesterday. He said he'd be inside the top 10, be able to get stage points at the end of stage 1 and already up to 8th.
It's a good battle right here. The 9 car and the 11.
Lane Riggs.
Yeah, Lane Riggs driving that 11 car. Really good late model racer. Won a lot of short track races. Trying to get himself in this Xfinity series. He'd be a great little driver for somebody to latch on to. A lot of promise.
Ton of success in the Cars Tour Series. National champion at the late model stock level. And he's got a few opportunities at the end of this year driving this Kaulig car. He wants to make the most of those and do the best he can. Wants a great finish today, Dave.
One more race to go after this, Junior, at a track he's really good at in a late model. That is Martinsville. Talked to Lane just before driver intros today. The weekend has gone much better than it did at Texas, his first race, where he crashed in practice. His dad, Scott, told me when he went on the track for practice, he had tears in his eyes because he was finally racing the Xfinity Series, and he said those led to tears in his eyes after he put it in the wall in practice. 2 separate emotions there to start his weekend in Texas, but much better this weekend, and another fast 11 car.
Spoke with Scott yesterday after practice and qualifying. He says every lap he turns, he's learning. And that's the thing that his dad was proud about. He said he's learning every time he goes out on the racetrack. So a lot of high praise from his father.
Josh Berry getting passed right here by Sammy Smith. Pretty impressive run by the 18 car, Sammy Smith, who's had an up and down year. Started off hot, running with good speed early, but the majority of this season, they've sort of struggled really to put together races and crashed a lot of cars. Now he's trying to figure out how to finish these races, and so far getting off to a great start here in Las Vegas in the top 3.
Well, we cleaned up the last 3 races, really cleaned up, you know, those mistakes. And I think that's key for this driver. Steve is a young driver with a lot of promise, but you just cannot continue damaging cars. It not only affects that race, but also the race after, because your preparation level, contact right there. your prep level, see, when you start wrecking race cars, really gets hurt.
Yeah, everything gets behind. And speaking of get behind, the 11 was almost behind on the steering. You want to make sure you leave a lane there. He kind of shut that door on the 48 who had a run. Parker gave him a little shot in that right rear bumper.
Lane's going to learn something right here, though, about mile-and-a-half multi-groove racetracks. He's going to watch those guys running the top. You see the contact right there. Lane just not quite clear, trying to come up the racetrack, almost giving a little nose out there for the 48 of Parker. But he's going to watch these guys run the top and go, man, how do I do that? Never has he ever been in a situation to go up and run against the fence at a track like this. We see a lot of positions changing hands right here. It's like John Nemechek trying to drive through almost into the left rear quarter panel of the 7 car.
And if you're Justin Allgaier, if you're Josh Berry, here's the 20 car, started dead last. I mean, we're 28 laps into the race with 2 cautions, and he's passing me. I mean, it just rips your heart out how much faster he is than you are right now. Marty.
So, Jeff, can restarts here at Vegas be frustrating? Well, let's get Justin Allgaier's take on that. Listen in.
Freaking nerves is killed because the pin can't restart. My goodness.
Yeah, we all saw it now. Gather it back in. Let's go.
So he's very impressed with what Daniel Hemrick did on that last restart. But, Junior, you talked about in the pre-race, restarts at Vegas are everything.
Well, I think, what he's worried about is the 10 had missed a shift. Something happened to the 10 right here. And watch the 7 run right in the back of him. Almost knocked the front bumper bar out of the 7 car. And it could have unsealed some of that duct work, changing the aerodynamics, the downforce, the ability to cool as well as it needs to. So certainly some concerns for the 7 car going forward.
And a frustrated Allgaier on the radio, letting his team know. It's Chandler Smith out in front with Cole Custer running second. Great battle for the lead on the outside. Cole Custer with the momentum is going to take the top spot away from the 16 of Chandler Smith.
Yeah, Cole Custer got some information from the spotter. I'm sure that people were starting to run the top in 3 and 4. He jumped up there, got big momentum, got underneath, and was able to make the pass. And then Chandler Smith put up a big battle trying to get it back, but it has shifted. The fast way around this racetrack has gone to the top in 3 and 4. A lot of guys run the top in 1 and 2 as well.
Is this a precursor to what we're going to see at Homestead, Miami next week? Right up against the wall?
Yeah, but from lap 1. Be up there right off the start.
Cole Custer now starting to put a few more cars a lap down.
Playoff drivers 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 6th, 7th. Sheldon Creed in 10th. And the one of Sam Mayer all the way back in 16th, as we see a battle here between the 8 and the 48. I say that because we're closing in 8 laps away from the end of the stage. So, you know, in the round of 8, you would really think you need to finish inside the points probably in every stage if you're going to be one of those drivers that point your way to Phoenix.
This is interesting right here. We saw that 20 car John Hunter Nemechek just seemingly driving through the field with ease, but right here, Justin Allgaier has been able to sort of keep him within distance. And John Hunter has not been able to close the gap on the car in front of him, Austin Hill in the 21. So while we did see this car drive through the field, we always note that these cars in that top 5, they're going to get harder and harder to pass. They're going to race you harder because they expect to beat you. Kim.
And maybe the balance of that 20 car going a little bit away for John Hunter. He was reporting I'm a little tight, sliding the rears on exit, but already outperforming what they were expecting. Crew Chief Ben Bayshore said they hope to be top 10 by the end of stage 1, top 5 by the end of stage 2. Right now they're in the 6th position, 1 step away, Dave, from where they wanted to be at the end of stage 2.
Pole sitter Josh Berry is going the wrong direction, Kim, from the 1st starting spot back to 9th at this point. On lap 25, he said it was a little free on entry. By lap 29, he said it was free everywhere. Team told him, stand by a few laps, we'll fix you up, Marty.
Boy, Dave, at the beginning of the run, we really bragged on Sam Mayer, but now he is the lowest playoff running driver in 15th. The back half of the run has just not been good.
This thing is just undrivable right now. I don't know what happened. And for be smooth, let it come to you. Just really focus, concentrate in here.
So, Jeff, the undrivable part is that the car is so free, especially on entry. How does that complicate things here at Vegas?
Well, the problem, Marty, on corner entry is if you're loose, you just cannot carry any speed. And now, when you get to the middle corner, you're going so slow that you got to start trying to go the throttle quicker to make lap time. And it's just so difficult to drive a car with loose entry conditions on 1.5 miles. And that's been this team's issues. They have not been very good on 1.5 miles this year. They're going to have to fix it because you got one today and you've got one next week. We're going to have to find a way to turn it around.
Looking back from John Hunter Nemechek's Toyota onboard as he looks back on Justin Allgaier. But Nemechek, starting at the back of the field, has made his way to 6th and plateaued there as he's about 9/10 of a second behind Austin Hill. Under 3 laps to go, Cole Custer, Chandler Smith, Sammy Smith, Daniel Hemrick, and Austin Hill, the top 5. Custer right up against the wall through 3 and 4.
They're right behind them. Maybe a battle for position for 2nd there. Chandler Smith. Sammy Smith has ran him down. A little traffic right there in front of him. As we watch these last couple of laps, opportunity for Sammy maybe to gain another point in this stage.
2-point shift if he can get by him, taking that 1 spot away from Chandler Smith and gaining the spot as they come up on 1 to go. And the momentum in the outside line for Sammy Smith. He's trying to use it. Can he get to his outside? Not quite.
Saw him rush the gas there and try to get to the outside. He was able to do it, but then not finish the corner. 16 was very patient back to the throttle, able to clear him. And now the 16 driving a little defensive, up off the bottom of the racetrack, not allowing him to have that run on the high side. A lot of traffic in front of them, though, down here for 3 and 4.
And that's for 2nd. Chandler Smith, Sammy Smith. Out in front and right up against the wall, the 00 of Cole Custer, looking for his 7th stage win of the year. And this will be his 2nd one that he's been able to claim from Las Vegas. Chandler Smith, Sammy Smith, 2nd, 3rd, Daniel Hemrick, Austin Hill, John Hunter Nemechek, Allgaier, Brandon Jones, Kligerman, and Riley Herbst all gaining points in stage 1. Josh Berry started out front, but it was a hard-charging John Hunter Nemechek that gained a lot of spots. But in the end, Cole Custer wins stage 1. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Progressive. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. Visit progressive.com. Beautiful scenery here in the Las Vegas area. Again, Nellis Air Force Base located just off the backstretch here in Las Vegas, which we see fighter jets flying by on a regular basis. A lot of speed on the racetrack, especially for the driver of the 00, Cole Custer. He's going to lead the field onto pit road for the start of pit stops. Kim?
And Chandler Smith, top of your screen, said he needs more turn, specifically the longevity of the front of the car through the run. He also said it just feels unstable. They will make an air pressure adjustment on those 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel in that car, Dave.
8 stage points for Sammy Smith. That's good. What wasn't good was near the end of the run. The car went a little bit tight. He needs adjustment for that, Marty.
Cole Custer was so impressive, Dave, especially on the longer run. He said it fades a little bit free, but he never lost the center turn for the 00 car. He said if you make a change, make it a very small change, kind of a long stop for the 00. We'll see if that costs him any track position. It does not, Rick. They come in with the lead, they leave with the lead.
Great stop for the 00 team. Sammy Smith and Hemrick gaining a couple spots. Chandler Smith losing 2 on pit road. We'll see if he can gain them back on the racetrack.
is how you start the playoffs, boys.
It's Bristol, baby, come on!
How cool is it that I got the battle with the boss man, Dale Jr.?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to lead the lap, and the crowd goes wild.
We had a shot at winning it if the car was going to run good at the end.
I'm on fire, boys.
There's smoke in the right side of the car.
I had a blast. Justin wins. It makes me want to do more, so have some fun at Homestead riding the fence.
It's Bristol, baby, let's go!
And again, that's next Saturday on USA. The NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs will continue. Homestead Miami Speedway. It's another chance to secure a spot in the championship 4. That race coverage will start at 3 p.m. Eastern, and will only be a 3-man booth because Junior back behind the wheel. Make sure that no fires this time.
Yeah, same race car. We rebuilt it, fixed our bugs, so we'll have a lot of fun. Hopefully we get up there, run the wall, have a good night. Such a fun racetrack, such a great place to race at Homestead, Florida.
First pit stop, we talk about mistakes that can happen on the racetrack that can also happen on pit road. The 18 of Sammy Smith. Clean right side stop, nice job. They look slow because 5 lug nuts compared to the Cup car, but then watch the left front. You're going to see the tire come off quickly, and the exchange a little bit messy. Took a little bit of time to index it, but then look, as the jack drops, the tire changer's still working. Lug nuts not secure, so they came back down pit road. It added the unsecured lug nuts, and for that reason, Sammy Smith is at the tail of the field. We saw John Hunter Nemechek, his teammate, recover early, but now Sammy Smith has work to do. Playoff driver currently outside the top 25.
And the 48 and 74 both had uncontrolled tires. As we look at stage points earned, Cole Custer, that's also with the win. That's a playoff point that he will get and can count on that. Actually won't need it though when we get to Phoenix. Points go out the window as far as what he is going to be doing for a championship. Kim.
And actually a litany of problems for the 48 of Parker Kligerman. You mentioned the uncontrolled tire. Not only that, they took Packer out of the left front on the initial stop. Well, they took too much. So Parker, when they came back down, had to put Packer back in the left front. On top of that, they're not operating with their regular pit crew over the wall. Another team on an affiliate team had a jackman that got injured, so they don't have their regular jackman. There was some switching too with the tire changers. So just missing a little bit on their regular choreography for Parker Kligerman's team.
That can happen. So, you know, you reach in there on a pit stop. The Packer is basically the shim and the shock that keeps the height right side. You can grab more than one handle in a hurry. So
as we get ready to see the restart and getting underway with stage 2, we're going to ride along with the Circle.com onboard of Raja Karuth. Raja restarting in the 18th position.
Green. Matter, but they're pushing on the top. 1.5 in front of the 29. Half off E51. Yep. Still okay. 51 stayed left. Tight right. Tight. Clear up. Inside. 26 lost a lot of momentum out the front. Just staying with them. Bottom. Yeah, get in line with the 51. So all 2x2s are just 2 lanes up. Half off you. Middle still clear. Clear all the way. Everything you need on exit. Whatever you need. All clear.
A lot of smoke right in front of Raja. Looks like an engine gave away, and caution has come out. The 45 doesn't have a right rear tire.
Yeah, he had some contact. When the car with the blown engine crossed in front of him, he turns sideways in the oil, makes contact with the right side into the blown engine, and everyone else hits that fluid, and it's like ice. No control. Everybody up into the fence.
We were riding along with Raja Karuth with that Circle.com onboard. The 26 there.
That's Kaz Grala, who's had, I believe, the one with the engine problem.
You hear the tire is whipping around. What Raja has to do here is just go as slowly as he can so that tire doesn't continue to come apart and it can just rip the body completely off the car. Do suspension damage. You can see all the debris flying inside of the car. That's tire fabric as the tire's coming apart. There you go. It'll rip that whole inner panel out or rip the whole outside quarter panel, do a massive amount of damage.
And if that's the left rear tire, like that's right behind the driver. If that's the right rear, but if it's the left rear, that's just how wild and dangerous this board is.
And again, Rajah Karut, we were riding along with him. The car in front of him, 26 of Kaz Grala, we watch it as the engine expires there, and right up in front of him, all that fluid. You saw it on the camera too.
And as soon as the car rolled in front of him with the oil coming out, around he went. There's absolutely nothing you can do in that situation, just bad timing. All these people, yeah, all these guys, just wrong place, wrong time. Oh, look at all the oil.
Yeah.
Just hard hits. Fortunately, it could, you know, that wreck that early after a restart could have been a lot worse, taking even more cars out.
Red flag has come out as they're going to have to go to work on cleaning the racetrack up from the fluid that has been put down and getting the cars off of the track and back into the infield and the garage. So caution number 4 out here at Las Vegas. Red flag condition here in the Xfinity Series playoff race from Las Vegas Motor Speedway as oil put on the track by Kaz Grala and quite a few cars involved in the incident. Dave, one that maybe snuck through the 18.
Woohoo, Sammy Smith, playoff driver. Remember restarting in the back of the pack, 28th to be exact, as that was taking place in front of him. Listen to his spotter trying to guide him through. He's on the low side in the 18 car.
Outside 48, that's it. Yeah, we're blowing up good. Get to the middle if you can. Now lower. Get down on the apron. Yep, all the way down here, all the way down. We got one spinning, though. Watch the one spinning. Either direction. You got whatever you need here.
So drivers, I don't know how much you actually, use from your spotter in those situations, but boy, they sure are trying to help you a ton.
You want everything you can get. That information about where to go. So we can see there's a crash, but helping you understand, do I need to follow the smoke? Because they can't see the cars. They just see nothing but smoke. Are the cars coming down the track? Are they starting to slide down the track? Is there going to be an option for me to opening up high? Or are they going to stay up there? And is my only option the bottom of the racetrack? That's what I always liked, Jeff, was like, tell me about the wreck. Yeah, but I want to know left, right. Tell me where to go.
It's a lot of responsibility on the spotter, but ultimately the driver's got to make that decision. But there's times the driver has no idea. He can't see. There's smoke. He can see cars spinning in front of him, but he doesn't know what's in front of that mess. So the spotters are just so valuable. They do such a great job. And they're up here. Think about this. They started this morning. They were Cup practice, Cup qualifying. They were up there. They spend all day on top of these buildings, do great work.
Let's see if we can chat with the race leader, Cole Custer, while we're under this red flag condition.
All right, try to get him here. Hey, Cole, it's the guys in the NBC booth. You got a copy?
Yep, I got you.
Well, I'm not going to go ask how it's going because with the stage win and 19 laps led, it looks like it's going pretty good. So let's ask about the racetrack. Is it what you expected with the temperature change from yesterday?
I mean, it's definitely slick. You know, just always when we come here the second time, you know, it's hotter, it's slicker. The track's baked all summer, so, you know, it's definitely nobody's car drives good today, I would say, you know, and the bumps feel, you know, pretty rigid and everything. But I feel like JT and our guys did a great job with it, making it not handle the best out of everybody, I would say. So hopefully we can keep it up here and keep up with it and be there at the end.
Let's talk about this race from the driver's seat. I know for the fans, you know, we've already had 4 cautions and 18 laps of yellow. We've seen blown engines, oil on the racetrack, a ton of speedy dry going down. Is that very disruptive from behind the wheel?
I mean, overall, it just makes it the restarts, you know, super tough. You know, I mean, I think it's always a toss-up on the front row of who's going to get the better push. And, you know, we made it happen that last time, but you just never know how the restart's going to work out. So you kind of have to take it as it comes and try and make the most of it.
All right, man. Well, still got 36 to go in the second stage. Good luck.
Thank you, guys.
Pretty cool to talk to a driver in the race. I know it's on a red flag, but I mean, this is like talking to a quarterback at halftime, right? I mean, so great that these drivers will take the time and give us some insight on what they're feeling.
You see the team there waiting. As soon as the red flag is taken away and the yellow flag is displayed, they will be able to start working on the car. But can't work on it under red flag condition. This is what Raja had to see. The oil being laid down right in front of him. And again, a reminder, Petit Le Mans is going on right now from Road Atlanta. You can see it on Peacock. And then at the conclusion of the Xfinity Series race, it will be on USA. Lee Diffie on the call there. It's the last race for the IMSA Racing Series. There's a 6-way battle going on right now in the GTP Championship run. A couple Penske entries in that. So great battle that's taking place again on that 10-hour race from Petit Le Mans, and it starts under the sun and then ends under night sky. So a great race, a great endurance race there at Road Atlanta. Caution has come back out now, so the red flag has gone away. They'll start going to work on the teams that were on pit road, one of those being Raja Karuth, doing some work on that car, and they'll send him back out onto the racetrack.
Now the trouble for that is they've got no crush panel in this car right here, so all kinds of debris, heat, you know, carbon monoxide, all sorts of things are going to be coming inside of the cockpit for Raja the rest of the day.
Yeah, that right rear one is a real bad one to lose, because normally right here, this would be boxed in with another piece of metal. So you wouldn't be able to see any of that right there. And I say it's the worst one because the exhaust is right there in front of that opening. So you mentioned the carbon monoxide, Dale, right? It's going to kind of want to fill into the back of the car. We see the 21 of Austin Hill pit from 6th, Dave. This seems a little odd.
Steve, second playoff driver with lug nuts missing or not tight. The left rear, he is sure, is the problem with the huge vibration he's getting as he speeds around this 1.5 mile track. So the team has talked about just changing the left side tires. Remember, they're limited on sets of tires here in the Xfinity Series today. So they're going to take a look at that, see if there's any other damage there, but he had to come to pit road.
So I'd be shocked if they changed the tire. It seems like they're taking the tire off, probably inspecting the threads, because if the tire was loose, you could damage the studs, where then any tire you put on wouldn't become tight. If you're going to take the time, let's make the repair one time and one time only.
So they go to work on the 21. Austin Hill, he's going to have to restart in the back. Getting ready for the restart. Again, after Kaz Grala had an engine expire on him and oil down on the racetrack. Red flag came out, cleaned the racetrack off, and now getting ready for the restart.
Well, you heard Cole Custer talk about it. You know, the stop and go wasn't the big issue. It's the restarts and the challenge. And one challenge he has, the inside is going to be a pair of College cars, so you assume they're going to work together and try to really help each other down the front stretch. Now, the good news for Cole Custer is the 00. So I think he's going to have a lot of help through the restart zone. The question is, in the turn one, guys, if the 20 car will stay committed to the 00 or if he'll have the opportunity to try to find a 3-wide situation.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Nemechek's willing to get that aggressive. Will he jump up there 3 wide? I think he's accomplished a lot of what he wanted to accomplish. Now he has track position. He talked before the race about being smart, leaving this race with great points. And I think that now with this track position, although we all know John Hunter, he only knows one speed, wide open, I think he'll be very selective in the move he makes.
John Hunter Nemechek will restart in row 2 just behind Cole Custer. We'll see if the momentum works for him on the high side. The pace car off the track, field back in the hands of Cole Custer. Custer hasn't been able to clear the 10 of Daniel Hemrick. Here comes John Hunter Nemechek on the bottom of the racetrack. Now the momentum paying off for Cole Custer in the 0-0.
Great restart for Hemrick. He didn't get the lead, but came out in second place. Did a good job. Loser in all that was Chandler Smith. Chandler picked behind Hemrick on that inside line, and he's back to 5th right now with more cars on the outside trying to get by him. He throws in behind the 98 of Herbst.
Big pass there for John Hunter Nemechek. Gets by the 10 of Hemrick.
Oh, Hemrick had to jump out of the gas right there. His car got a little bit upset by the 7 car getting to his left rear quarter panel.
Remember this 98 car, he started in the back as well, so he's done a good job of climbing up through the field, the same as John Hunter.
Now Hemrick able to get back. Goes by that 98.
Big run from Josh Berry here down the back straightaway to the inside of Chandler Smith as well.
Riley Herbst in the 98, being a Las Vegas native, has 50 or 60 family members and friends that have come out here to the track to cheer him on. Riley still looking for that first win in the Xfinity Series. There's Sam Mayer in the 1 behind Sammy Smith in that 18. And a big wiggle there as Mayer got up to the back bumper of Smith, maybe affected the air a bit.
They're 3 wide right behind them. That 21 of Austin Hill we saw make the extra pit stop to put some lug nuts on, trying to recover. He's back up to 17th.
Parker and Parker down the back straightaway.
Sounds like a law firm.
Yeah. Here's the moment for this 18 car. He gets a little loose, just in a bad position. I think that the 1 affects it a little bit, but also the side force going away as the 11's out there. He's just trying hard to go through throttle and maintain right there and asking too much of the rear tires and lateral grip.
Brandon Jones in the 9, just in front of Ryan Sieg in that 39.
Sieg's had some good runs here at Vegas. Not a surprise to see this 39 car running in the top 10. Small team works hard, but they have their moments, and they really try to highlight or prepare their best when they know they can go to these racetracks and compete, and Vegas is on that schedule.
Ryan, another one of those drivers searching for their first win in the Xfinity Series.
Dave. Saw Ryan Sieg at driver intros. I said, "You ready to go?" He said, "Yeah, always." But he was a little disappointed in his qualifying effort. 17th for the driver of the 39 car, but he's worked his way forward, as you can see.
Yeah, up into the top 10 now, running in that 10th spot.
Watching the top of the screen, the 98 of Herbst working the high side, trying to create that momentum. You see it work down the back straightaway as he closes in on the 10 of Hemrick. Just slightly offset here in 3 and 4, watching the back of that 98 move around.
And you may be asking, why isn't the 98 higher in 3 and 4? We saw guys earlier in the race running higher. Well, it's simply because the tires are still new and they have a lot of grip. So the shortest way around the racetrack is the way to go. The top gets better when the tires start to wear out. Speed starts to come out of them. Then you start looking for different places to run.
The other thing, too, is we had that big crash down in turn 1 and 2, and they put a bunch of speedy dry on the racetrack. And yes, we're starting to clean that bottom groove, that second groove, that third groove, but all of that stuff you're cleaning goes somewhere, and it goes to the top of the racetrack. And that top groove will take a long time for them to really move that cushion up down there in 1 and 2 and really get that track widened back out.
Oh, Hemmer got loose right there.
Inside. Clear.
That's just a skill that the drivers have, a tool in their toolbox. You see a guy struggling a little bit, you get right behind him, pull the air off the car, makes him loose. Seen that forever in this series. See, he turns a little bit before Hemrick, gets underneath him. Now he stacks that air up underneath Hemrick, and it just makes his car where he cannot get back to the bottom. This was off turn 4 a few moments ago. Little battle right here. Riggs wasn't real sure which lane he needed to be in. Sammy Smith trying to get by. Mike Snyder in the 19 car.
Sammy has a fast car in that 18, and just getting up there, getting behind people, and just trying to be patient, but also at the same time, it's disrupting the air on their car and making those passes relatively easy. We saw the same thing out of his teammate John Hunter Nemechek when he came through the back of the field. What you got, Dave?
Well, Dale Jr., I know you know this. When you have a young driver who sees tracks for the first time in any series, they're not necessarily going to be their best effort. So they saw this track in March. Sammy told me this afternoon that the car was good, but it was much better the second time now that I've been here. And those extra laps sure help, Marty.
Welcome to the top 10, Sam Mayer, finally coming to life here in the second half of this stage 2. What did Marty Lindley do on the last stop? Listen in.
What adjustments did we make here? Like how much?
We did a bunch of air pressure, 3 corners, and we worked on the right rear shock.
And they have responded with some speed here in this run. Now up to the 9th position for Sam Mayer, Rick.
Sammy Smith also making the move. See him go by Ryan Sieg and Sheldon Creed. We saw him be very aggressive in the first stage. He is running in the 10th spot right now. It's Cole Custer out in front. He's already led 36 laps here at Las Vegas today. Represent your favorite driver during the playoffs and take advantage of amazing deals at the NASCAR shop. Check out the greatest selection of t-shirts, hats, die casts, and much, much more. All you have to do is visit NASCAR.com/shop. Still up front, it's Cole Custer, but for how long is the question now, as John Hunter Nemechek has closed the gap, just 0.3 of a second separating the top two.
This right here is what I thought we were going to see all season long during the Xfinity year, is the 0-0 Cole Custer and John Hunter Nemechek out in front of the field, battling between each other for wins. Now, John Hunter's had some pretty good pace, but he's not really been able to close the gap on the 0-0. Custer's running different lines. Top down here against the wall. Really, really loose, but hung out and fast right against the wall. John Hunter has to fade down just a little bit to get a little clean air on the left front. Can't run right up against the wall, so they're giving up just maybe a little bit of time there in 3 and 4. Do you see the differences? The 0-0 drives away, now down in 1 and 2. Custer and John Hunter Nemechek both want the middle of the racetrack as we watch this battle for 10th.
These two have been fighting for probably 10, 15 laps for this one position.
Yeah, this is a little bit of the inexperience, in my opinion, of Sammy Smith. Guy's got a very fast race car, but he's trying to make this pass on the bottom. And the 2 is smart enough, Creed's smart enough to really use the top of the racetrack to make that almost a difficult thing to do. See the 2 back up the entry, but he powers up right here. Now finally the 18's through.
He backed up the entry a lot that time. He had some kind of an issue into turn 3. When Sammy turned underneath him, he was already past him. So something happened with the 2 car right there. And that's been their struggle, really. Long run speed.
That's interesting right there on the top of the screen. The 7 running the bottom of the straightaway. Down the back straightaway. I don't know if he just assumes it's 98's way fast. He's coming by. I'm going to let him go. Or is the 7 having a problem, Marty?
Not having a problem, Junior, but he is frustrated. Listen to the radio.
Struggling with how hard to go here. I hate that they're driving away and the 98's catching me, but I'm just brutalizing this right front if I don't.
Yeah, no, you're doing the right thing, man. We need to save the right front this stint.
Before I still have nothing to lean on with the right rear. That's the problem.
Yeah, so Junior, he brings up the point. Feels like he can't push the car as hard as he wants. That's why he lost the 3rd spot there to Riley Herbst.
And we, I know you, Marty, you and Steve were talking about some tire issues on that 7 car. The tires that came off after stage 1, little cording, little chunking on the right front, cording on the left front. So the team sounds concerned about the longevity of these tires throughout this run with 9 laps to go.
Maybe a little concern and also a little understanding of where they are, right? They came in 17 points above the cut line. They finished 7th in the first stage. So kind of like we talked about, Junior, at the beginning, as we see a little shove from Creed to Myatt Snyder. Creed saying, hey, man, I'm running the top. I got a little more speed. Why don't you give me a little room on exit? But I think the 7 just says, look, you're doing the right thing. You heard Jim Pullman tell him, we just don't want to have a big mistake here. So don't worry about letting a guy go. I appreciate you understanding it. Kim, how about the 2 of Sheldon Creed?
Yeah, he continues to drop further from the top 10, currently running in the 13th position, and came on the radio just a second ago. I wouldn't call it frantic, but in definitely a concerned voice, saying he's just losing right rear grip. He can't turn the wheel, and he's struggling to get in the throttle. So that car just not good on the long green flag runs for Sheldon Creed.
He's been running to the top, but trying to find something. Went back to the bottom in 3 and 4. He's trying to find something that makes his car drive a little bit better. As a driver, that's, you have the car you have. They can't fix it right now. You got to make adjustments. You got to try something different. Because he lost a ton of track position just in the last 7 or 8 laps. Keep doing the same thing, you'll get the same result.
As we see the leaders here almost in a tight battle for that position. The car behind on that black number 98 of Herbst that just passed the 7 of Allgaier for 3rd is closing in on this lead battle. I know Riley Herbst not in the points championship battle, would love to be. Feels like he's good enough. They announced just this past week that he'll be returning to this 98 car. I was surprised, but I like the move. I think the kid has improved so much this year. And now look at him closing in on the 2 fastest cars in the field. This battle for the lead's heating up.
And give Stewart Hoffs Racing credit too, right? They didn't have, they had an expansion this year in the Xfinity Series with this 0-0 car full time. And both of these cars consistently have speed. Both of them run well. A lot of fighting right here through traffic.
Yeah, there's some more traffic out in front of the leaders. Could present some opportunities for either the 20. Nemechek dives to the bottom of the racetrack, side by side right here. The double zero is going to throttle up, trying to create the momentum on corner exit to clear, and he's going to do it.
Some of these lap cars coming into play. We'll see if Riley Herbst can use that to his advantage.
Herbst with a big run on the 20 now. See the difference running the top of the bottom. Does down in turn 3 and 4. That car on the top has so much speed down the front straightaway.
Coming up on the final 3 laps of stage 2.
All right, the double zero's got to run the bottom here, Steve. He's not been running the bottom in 3 and 4. What's his car going to look like? They try to go around that 6 car on the inside, all of them having to do this. No one able to run the top and take advantage of the momentum.
What Cole did really nice there was not overdrive the bottom. I think when you have that rhythm of running the top, right, now all of a sudden you think you could drive down to the bottom with a little bit more speed, overrun the front tires, and then once you slip off that white line, you get into that no man's land of the middle, right? You just get tight.
The 20 got tight right there. You see the 98 closing the gap on him, running lower.
98, Herbst kind of had to guess where the 20 of Nemechek was going to go. He was hoping Nemechek was going to go to the top. Custer a little bit slow through the middle of 3 and 4 right there.
Yeah, they're all kind of struggling. Custer said, hey, nobody's car's driving great. Look at her 20 up the racetrack again, the 98 to the bottom. We're going to be side by side coming off of turn 2. Little side draft, almost contact. And Herbst looks great. Gonna try to wrap this bottom, hopefully trying to clear the 20. Oh, he's clear.
That's what's impressive to me is the second half of that corner on the bottom. You and I were thinking clear the 20. He almost got all the way to the inside of the double zero.
Yeah, he might get the double zero. Here he is back to the bottom.
Oh, I love that line right there. 1 car lower.
Oh, he's gonna get there.
He's to the inside now for the lead. Riley Herbst, the Las Vegas native, trying to take stage 2.
These are teammates. Herbst is going to clear him easily. Now the battle for second.
And out of turn 4, Riley Herbst is going to win stage 2. That's his second career stage win. Cole Custer, John Hunter Nemechek, Allgaier, and Hemrick in the top 5. Chandler Smith, Josh Berry, Sam Mayer, Sammy Smith, and Brandon Jones rounding out the top 10 in stage 2. But Herbst claims the stage 2 victory. Sunday Night Football, the New York Giants are going to head to Buffalo, face Josh Allen and the Bills. And coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern with Football Night in America on NBC and Peacock. Again, starting quarterback Daniel Jones out with neck injury for the Giants. Buffalo had won 3 straight before losing to Jacksonville last week. We get ready for pit stops here. Conclusion of stage 2. And Steve, with this stage being as long as it will be, pit stops are going to have to fall in there as far as fuel mileage.
Yeah, they can run about 60 laps. So this final stage will probably restart with about 106 to go. So 60 laps on fuel. Everybody will have 2 sets of tires after this pit stop. So we'll just have to see how the final run goes. Little stack up coming to pit road.
Lead lap cars on pit road coming to you, Kim.
And John Hunter Nemechek saying he was tight. In fact, the little front chatter can't finish the corner and wrap it like he wants. Crew Chief Ben Bayshore card full. A big air pressure adjustment on this, as well as a little bit of chassis adjustment for fresh Goodyear tires. Sunoco fuel, Dave.
From the rear of the field to the lead goes Riley Herbst. He said, I'm losing grip as I go, but you can't hurt the front end. That's where my speed's coming from, Marty.
Dave, remember Cole Custer came into the round of 8 below the cut line, so 19 stage points today for this 00 team. Very critical. Just like his teammate said he lost grip the longer they ran. The teammates will have a drag race off pit road, and Riley Herbst barely gets his teammate Cole Custer at the line, Rick.
Those two hold position, and Daniel Hemrick and their crew gain a couple spots on pit road. That pushes Nemechek and Allgaier both back a position. Myatt Snyder and his crew very nice with 4 spots gained, as does Austin Hill in the 21. We had mentioned earlier the IMSA race continuing. It is a Petit Le Mans, the last of 4 endurance races in 2023, a 10-hour long race.
The sun has set, racing into the night at Road Atlanta.
This race really ramps up to the next level when we get to the darkness hours. All of the chips are on the table.
The overall battle for the lead has been intense. Cars that have battled all season so fiercely.
Now remember, championship battle across the line. Most dramatic final lap of Motul Petit Le Mans.
And still just over 4 hours and 20 minutes remaining in the Petit Le Mans there from Road Atlanta. Now all 4 of the GTP manufacturers are still championship eligible. So the Cadillac, Acura, Porsche, and BMW all still fighting for that championship title. And so many great stories, a part of what's taking place with the IMSA GTP Championship. Wayne Taylor Racing, Action Express, and the Penske Porsche number 6. Those teams are separated by just 11 points starting this race.
Yeah, COVID year, that race got delayed to later in the season after the NASCAR race had ended. So I got to go down there and see it in person. And just a great, I've been to Road Atlanta multiple times testing, but to see those sports cars in the multiple class is really captivating there, because there's a really long kind of front and back straightaway from the back of the property. And you can see the speed difference in the classes, and then a little bit of technical stuff, kind of turn 1 through turn 6. And now we're going to do all that in the dark here in a couple hours. Well, I mean, the back half of that racetrack, there's no street lights. There's no anything. You're in the middle of nowhere.
Take a look at the points earned today through the first 2 stages, and Cole Custer grabbed 19 of those stage points. Chandler Smith, John Hunter Nemechek, Allgaier, Sammy Smith, Austin Hill, all grabbing points of the playoff drivers.
And for John Hunter Nemechek, I think those 13 points are just going to free the driver up in this last stage. Remember, didn't get a chance to qualify, start in the back, and then did an amazing job of 6th and 3rd in the 2 stages. And I think for that reason, plus the lead he came in on the reset points, you know, he doesn't want to be crazy, throw a Hail Mary here at the end of this race and wreck his race car, but you know, I think he can still be a little aggressive. He doesn't have to be scared about the points.
Sheldon Creed in the 2 car, one of our playoff drivers, has not gotten any stage points today. Sam Mayer only getting 3 for that 1 team.
Yeah, and also the 21 gave up some stage points, was running 6, had to come in for that loose lug nut in the 2nd stage. And also Sammy Smith, he had to come down pit road also. And You know, both of those guys gave up stage points, and you'd think that doesn't matter. But how many times have we seen 1 point be the difference between advancing to the next round of the playoffs? When you have points out there in front of him, you better find a way to execute and get them.
And coming in to this race, Cole Custer was below the cut line, and now as they run, he's above the cut line by 18 points. So the big three, as we called them before the start of the race, John Hunter Nemechek, Allgaier, and Austin Hill, those three still in their position, but now you add Cole Custer, and he's kind of jumped up into that big three, now making it the big four, and maybe someone's going to have to win their way to break up that four. Again, win and you advance in these playoffs. And the final stage from Vegas is underway.
Green flag, green flag.
Junior, you mentioned the pushing on the restarts, and it's happening aggressively here.
Yeah, if you're the lead car, you better hang on, because that second row has been pushing all the way down into turn one.
John Hunter Nemechek using that middle line, and he is going to clear the 98 of Riley Herbst.
I think that shocked Riley Herbst that John Hunter could get around him that quickly. John Hunter, I mean, that was a massive corner right there he was able to pull off.
Here comes Austin Hill in the 21. He's on the bottom of that 2 wide back there, and it looks like it's going to send him up the racetrack just a bit. Had to get out of the gas. Cole Custer, Nemechek, Herbst, Hemrick, and Allgaier the top 5.
Mike Snyder got a little tight off of turn 4. Lost a little momentum. Has several cars trying to go to his inside now.
Now that Riley Herbst, he's returning the favor. We saw John Hunter Nemechek jump on the outside to get by him. Riley Herbst did the same thing to him.
It took that 98 car lap and a half, 2 laps to really understand where the grip was. That's this battle right here. Allgaier trying to get around. It's going to be tough to do now. He's going to be battling with Chandler Smith down the front straightaway. No momentum. Here comes more cars from the back. Allgaier tries to throw the block now to the inside, the 21 car. Austin Hill can't quite get the job done.
Austin Hill had a great pit stop. We've seen that all year long. They have gotten this 21 team tons of points. How good that pit crew is. They are the best on pit road, period, end of story. Got him 4 on that one.
All of his playoff competitors agree. They all pointed to the 21 car and said, you know, we need to just try to stay even with them. We know how good that team is, but they don't want to be losing spots on pit road and having to try to gain them back.
There goes Sam Mayer around the outside of the 21 of Austin Hill. Austin Hill trying to battle back. Here's the 7 of Allgaier trying to get to the outside of Hemrick. Hemrick struggling right now, as Chandler Smith was able to get by. This battle will sort itself out as we go back to the front of the field.
Yeah, that car that you don't seem to recognize, the 27 with the pink rear bumper, that's Jeb Burton. On the pit stop, NASCAR felt like they had pulled the side skirt and added a little flare. So coming to the green flag, they were asked to come back in and flatten it back out. NASCAR's watched for this for years. He was running 22nd, so trying to improve his day, but now a lap down.
Brandon Jones in the 9, tucked in behind the 21 of Hill.
Jones going to the top of the track trying to get some clean air. Sammy Smith right there behind him in that 18 car, lurking low. Everybody at the bottom of the racetrack down here in turn 3 and 4.
Nine and 18 running nose to tail, and a year from now they'll be teammates. So Brandon Jones behind the 9, and it was announced earlier that Sammy Smith would be going to Junior Motorsports to drive next year. for that organization.
Yeah, when I look at all of the lineups, Junior Motorsports seems to be the one that has been announced in clear on who's going to be in what car. There's a lot of question marks. That 2 right there, Sheldon Crean just announced that he won't be back at RCR. We're not sure exactly what that means for him moving on, but what we know is now we need a driver to fill the 2, and right behind him you see the 11. That's Lane Riggs from Colleague Racing. But Colleague is a little bit, you know, open-ended on their driver lineup as well, so still a lot of movement to happen inside the Xfinity Series garage, Dave.
And Steve, I'm hoping the drivers can expand on something I was hearing from Riley Herbst as he's now again going to challenge for the lead. The thing that he didn't want the team to do was affect the front turnability, was his word, of that race car. It looks like it's still working. They didn't hurt it. Riley Herbst back to the point.
Riley Herbst, the advantage that he feels like he has is the front of his car turns. Whenever he turns a wheel, it points. And there's a huge advantage in doing that. That makes it easier. Everything is easier if the car points where you want it to go. You can go the gas sooner. He said, hey, yes, we can make it better, but please do not take that away from me.
Changes the points quite a bit there on the playoffs, bottom left of the screen. Puts Cole Custer back in 4th position and shows you the difference that Chandler Smith, Sam Mayer, Sammy Smith are sitting at right there as the race is being ran. Cole's done some amazing work today. 19 points earned in both stages. I know he'd want to win to be able to get through, but they've done some awesome work.
Josh Berry in this 8 car racing Myatt Snyder in the 19. Myatt only has a few races that he runs, but runs the majority of the last 5 races of the year in this Joe Gibbs car. It's got to be hard, you know, to jump in these cars just every now and then, racing against people that race them every week. The 8 car, Josh Berry, just not the speed we expected today. He's been so good at this racetrack, multiple wins. Today, it's just not there.
Well, he started on pole, so when you say speed, we saw he had it for a lap, but for the longer runs, he hasn't had that continuous speed.
I talked to him down on the grid, said he thought his car was good. You can see it right there, the car moving around a lot. He's struggling to put the power down, Dave.
Well, and he's fighting now the fact that he came in 7th on that pit stop and went out 15th. I asked Taylor Moyer, the crew chief, what happened. He said, just a slow stop. So that can get into the psyche of the driver when you've been trying to fight back anyway, and then you lose all those positions on pit road.
Yeah, it does. You know, you need all the help you can get. On these days where you aren't good, that's really where a pit crew can really help you. If you can pick up 2 or 3 spots every time you come down pit road, it is a breath of fresh air on a day where your car just isn't like you need it to be.
So Parker Retzlaff putting a little pressure now on Josh Berry. Steve, I want to go back up front and look at the 98 of Riley Herbst. So he's got a 1.4 second lead. We saw Chandler Smith in the spring go out and dominate. He got out front, looked like he was a dominant car. Is there something right now you should be telling Riley, like, hey, you don't need to press it so hard. You've got a big gap here. What do you do as a crew chief when you've got a car out here out front this far?
Well, at this point, knowing I still have another pit stop to go, this stage I'm going to probably run pretty even, little over 50 laps on both set of tires. I'm going to probably be pretty quiet all the way until this first pit stop. Let him manage it as he sees fit, run as hard as he'd like to run, and tell me which way the balance goes. And that way I maybe think I can make an adjustment or look at the pace and see if he pushed too hard, really to press that last 50. That's the key. You know, you don't get a lot of 50-lap runs. You don't really test anymore. You don't get practice anymore. This is when you get to figure it out, is in the race. So at this point, I'm letting Riley Herbst enjoy the day, enjoy leading. This is a driver that even in the mix of the playoffs was so consistent with his messaging. He didn't care about points. He wants to win a race. How special would it be if it could happen in his hometown of Las Vegas?
Riley Herbst out front, and 14 laps led up to this point. Cole Custer about 1.2 seconds back. 85 to go in the NASCAR Xfinity Series playoff race from Las Vegas. It's the Alsco uniforms, 3:02 with Riley Herbst up front, and he continues to lead laps. 20 laps led now. Had never led a lap here prior to today, but he is out front enjoying his time and the view that he has. Now time for the Toyota driver update. John Hunter Nemechek, who is running in the 3rd position. Started back in 38. Steve had that issue with the rear end.
Yeah, I think it was an axle seal. Kind of leaked the rear end grease down the axle tube and out the right rear wheel. So for the 2nd week in a row, the 20 car didn't get to make a qualifying lap. Sure, that's something they're going to try to tidy up at the shop. They can't be happy about it, but John Hunter and the entire organization doing a nice job recovering.
Yeah, back in 20th, 45 car Rajah Caruth. I want to take everybody back earlier into the race. We had a massive crash get down into turn 1. We're riding on board with Rajah right here. The inside car there, Kaz Gralla blows the motor. When he goes across in front of Rajah, all that oil on the tires of the 45 car and made big contact with the right rear. Tore the whole rear crush panel out of the car. This is live right now. Looking down on that right rear tire, look at that bodywork moving around. We're going to look at a comparison to John Hunter Nemechek above. See how it's all sealed off on that right side for the 20 car? Now Rajah is running great in 20th place. I'm impressed by the speed this car has, not only because it's unsealed all through here. Not sure if that's good or bad, but the side force may be going away because of how weak that side is from the contact that he had earlier. But also the heat and the carbon monoxide, the fumes, all of those things are pouring into that race car because the exhaust is right there on that lower right side.
Yeah, Rajah, you said doing a nice job in these conditions. Hendrick Motorsports has been paying attention. He's going to get to drive Hendrick Motorsports' car in the Xfinity Series at Phoenix. That is an incredible opportunity for this young man. See what he can do in a car that we know whenever that race car hits the racetrack runs up toward the front.
Right up against the wall for the Circle.com on board of Rajah Caruth as we see Riley continuing to set a blistering pace here as he's going to put the 08 of Stephen Parsons another lap down. That'll be 2 laps down for Stephen.
Well, you asked Steve a minute ago, what do you tell him? You know, you tell him to back off. Well, no one has, clearly, because he is 0.2 a lap faster than the next fastest competitor. He's just on a rail today. And this is kind of the, you know, we've seen this from this 98 car. They have speed. That 00 has speed. Keep waiting to see him get that first win. This obviously could be the day.
Oh, it could be the day. You talk about drivers getting great opportunities. Ryan Reed, the next car to go a lap down, but it's worth talking about. This driver has a couple wins in the Xfinity Series. He hasn't raced since 2018 Miami. For those who don't know about Ryan's story, he used to drive with a big pharmaceutical sponsor. He is a diabetic, and he had a diabetic medicine on the hood of his car. He used to have a bullseye on the quad, the thigh area of his fire suit, in case he got low blood sugar. His pit crew member was literally trained to give him a shot during the race. I mean, it was
in the bullseye.
Yeah, amazing. And it's great to see Ryan back. I've had a lot of conversations. You run into him around kind of the Mooresville, North Carolina area, and he just never thought he'd get a shot back in the car. So it's great to see Ryan in a car somewhat 5 or 6 years after his last race and doing a really good job for somebody who has a lot of seat time, but a seat time nearly a half a decade ago.
Yeah, his last 3 full seasons he made the playoffs. It's absolutely good to see him back competing here today.
Just a spot in front of him is Dawson Cram running in the 22nd position in the 74 car. And that's one that fights every week when he comes to the racetrack to even make the race in qualifying, and had a pretty decent qualifying effort here today. And right now still running on the lead lap in 22nd. Dave.
Rick, you mentioned making the race, and that's one thing that Ryan Reed had to do with this 66 car. In fact, he told me in practice he'd have to go out there and do what they call a mock qualifying run right away. Run it as hard as you can like you're qualifying, because he needed to know what it would do when they changed tires and had him actually go qualify. So there you have it. Hasn't raced since 2018, did some sim work this week, but jumps right back in the car and had to go fire off, and he was quick enough to make the show and is racing well.
Sammy Smith gets another spot going by Hemrick, the 11 of Lane Riggs. Man, Lane doing a nice job. Yep. Texas couldn't have really gone worse. The poor guy had an accident 3 laps into practice. Doing a nice job, not just running the laps. I mean, it's one thing to run the laps, but he's running very high-end quality laps around the cars you need to run around to learn as much as possible.
Yeah, he went to work and went to school during that first stage, that second stage. Now he's finally starting to figure this racetrack out, what he can do to make time, where the car needs to be. He sees he needs to put that splitter, that left front tire, right on that line in turn 3. He knows about the bumps and how to get through them, how they can upset the car in turns 1 and 2. And I've seen him actually running the fence in 3 and 4. One of the hardest things to really understand for a young driver at a 1.5 miles for the first time. So he's found some speed wherever he can go.
Yeah, here's Myatt Snyder. Talked about him earlier, only a few races. He's got good pace right here also. So a lot of, limited practice. We talk about this in the Xfinity Series primarily because there's so many young drivers. You get such little practice time. You have to learn during the races. And unfortunately, you're learning when everybody's watching, right? And you've got to go learn in the middle of competition. It's a very challenging situation for these young guys.
With Myatt Snyder, he's raced 3 times this year, but the gaps in between, 11 races between first and second, and 15 races between second and third. .68 now coming up on 67 laps remaining from here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway and Las Vegas native. Riley Herbst is out front. He has led the most laps in a race ever for his career, as he has now led 37 and counting. Dive a little bit deeper on the driver of the 16 with Kim.
Yeah, Chandler Smith, remember this is only his second start at Las Vegas in the Xfinity Series, and he told Steve Letarte during the pace laps at the beginning of the race, there's no pressure, all windows of opportunity. So where did that confidence come from? Well, crew chief Bruce Slicker told me this morning that his performance at Texas recently, where he finished 4th and had such a strong day, just injected him with a lot more confidence than he had during the summer. Right now, overall, just needs to be tighter, Dave. He said that's the only way he feels comfortable running near the high line.
Kim, been a bit of a tough day for Austin Hill. Told me before the race he wasn't sure what he'd have, and it hasn't been good. Right in there, the middle of the corner, is their worst problem. It was bad earlier. They made an adjustment. It's not much better. He said right now, I'm sideways. I need a big adjustment next time down pit road, Marty.
Dave Sam Mayer is flirting with the top 5 for the first time all day long, just right behind his teammate Justin Allgaier. You know, coming into the day, the one team ranked 25th in points earned on 1.5 racetracks with one top 30 finish this year. So Steve, if you're Marty Lindley and you're leading this team, do you count a top 5, a top 10 as a good day for your 20-year-old driver to say, hey, we walked out of Vegas with our first top 10 of the year, our first top 5 of the year at 1.5 miles? We consider that a good one.
Oh, I think a top 5 is a great day for this young race team. And what I like about Marty Lindley and Sam Mayer and what they're doing is it doesn't sound like they're working on the next 4 races of this year. It seems like they have a much bigger plan all year long. It seems, you know, their patience has built with one another. There's been some criticism, but the veteran on top of the pit box, a longtime racer, is really trying to guide and mold this young race car driver, and you see it with the results. 3 wins already this year, and his win last week I thought was very patient, because when he got behind, he could have bulldozed to Cole Custer right away, but he took that extra couple corners, those extra couple laps to get cleanly by him. Small things like that are really showing up for the driver of the one.
Mayer currently running in that 6th spot. There's Brandon Jones behind him, Austin Hill, Sammy Smith, and Lane Riggs still running in the top 10.
Well, we should be very close to pit stops. Daniel Hemrick's going to start the cycle. I think this is a little bit early, 63 to go. He could probably just now make it on fuel, and this is a driver that can gamble. He's not in the playoffs, so on the early side of the window, Dave.
And a driver who wants his car to be adjusted. It has not been good for Hemrick this run. He said, we need to go back on the changes. It's not working like I thought it would. So they'll make an air pressure adjustment here for Goodyear tires, and Daniel Hemrick will start the cycle of these green flag stops.
Yeah, this cycle I think is going to work from back to front with the leader having such a big gap of 6 seconds. You know, the guys around Hemrick are going to kind of make a change. So here's Creed, who's coming from the 12th position. But unlike other stops, Kim, it's kind of single threat, one at a time.
And Sheldon right there, almost over that line, very close. But right now he was just frustrated with the balance of that race car. Said, I throttle up and the right rear's out of the track. I go back and forth between tight and loose. They will make some significant adjustments for Sheldon Creed on this machine. As we look at Chandler Smith making routine service under green, he said he was just way too free that run. Did not feel comfortable running up the higher line. So they will make an air pressure adjustment on those 4 fresh Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel for Chandler Smith.
And at this point, normally kind of leaders have to react right away. If I'm the crew chief, Davin Restivo, the crew chief of the 98, I might be the last car to come to pit road. I'm not going to lose this race by a ill-timed caution trapping me a lap down. So I'm going to take my time. Even now that the 7 has printed from 4th, you know, he had over 12 seconds, 13 seconds of a gap over the 7. So you can run a couple extra laps. Now pit road gets a little bit busier. I would let it cycle out maybe 3 or 4 laps more and then come if I'm the 98. Marty.
Justin Allgaier, bottom of your screen, coming down pit road. Man, they have struggled with an extremely tight race car on this run for Allgaier. They're going to make a pretty significant adjustment here, trying to free it up just a little bit.
Loose race car, Marty, for the 21 of Austin Hill on the top of the screen there. They'll make a big adjustment like he wanted for him right here. Marty, back to you.
Cole Custer coming down pit road, Dave, so the car was just way too free, and he predicted it would not be good on the longer run, and that also takes away his ability to run the top of the racetrack, which Custer loves to do. John Hunter Nemechek in front of you, Kim.
That's right, Marty. Right now, he just said the right rear's out of the racetrack, so he needs more rear stability, especially the longer the run goes. You see the chassis wrench go in there for that adjustment. 4 tires, Sunoco fuel.
Green flag pit stops happening. 59 to go here at Las Vegas as we start the round of 8. Sam Mayer at the very front of the pit road said the car's just built way too free, but he had top 5 lap times at the end of that run, Dave.
Riley Herbst, the leader, comes to pit road. He said, I didn't like the balance as well as we had it the last time. 1 and 2 is really good, but I feel like I've got no rear tires, no grip in the rear of the car in 3 and 4, so they'll make adjustments here. As for Sammy Smith, he was asked by crew chief Jeff Mendering, did you like that adjustment or go back the other way? Sammy Smith, driver of the 18, said, I did not like it. Please go back. They'll reverse what they did last time here for Sammy.
Green flag pit stops continuing. Connor Mozak is on pit road now as well.
See Sammy Smith finishing his service. The 98 had nearly a 7-second lead at the beginning of the cycle. So normally we would show the blend and see just how close it is, but congratulations to the 98 for bringing such a great race car and doing a nice job on and off pit road. He should very quickly cycle back to the lead as we see the rest of the cars pit. The 98 is right here at the start finish. Let's pick up the 16 is my math of Chandler Smith, who he's a ways back here. You're gonna have to take a break because here comes the 16. No, there you go. The 00 of Cole Custer, and then you see the 16 of Chandler Smith. So a big gap for the 98. Right behind him, John Hunter Nemechek in the 20.
We had some pretty interesting pit entries as this track tends to give us from time to time, and one of them was John Hunter Nemechek coming down pit road. Cole Custer in front of him. Look at the gap here. Look how much faster. A little bit of wheel hop. Whoa. Whoa. And that can sometimes, man, that can damage the rear end, the gear, the drive line in that car. Getting those wheels hopping really, really hard on the pit road right there.
Yeah, the other thing that happened to John Hunter is that he got in there so hot with the wheels hopping. He was way faster than pit road speed, so he had to stop to keep from getting penalized for pit road. Remember, pit road speed is measured from one time in line to another. It's the number of seconds it takes to get from one to the next. And he not essentially all but stopped. He would have been speeding. So, yeah, he overcooked it and made a mistake, but he didn't make it worse. He just said, okay, I'm in trouble. I got to stop. I can't be caught speeding. Good job. Just trying to make up time on pit road, but a little bit of a mistake, but a great decision by him.
We saw Ryan Sieg also with a tire violation. So a penalty for Ryan as you see John Hunter Nemechek going by the slower car that was coming to pit road.
Yeah, John Hunter Nemechek's lost a couple seconds to Custer, and now he's right behind Chandler Smith for 4th place.
So now back to your original question on that 98, who has a 5-second lead on the 29, who still has to come to pit road, but a 7.1-second lead back to Custer. Now is when I'm on the radio, and I'm not going to try to get him flipped out. I'm say, hey, great job on the cycle. You have about the same lead you did. This run is the same distance or maybe a couple laps longer of what you just did. That's all he really needs. Don't fill the driver's head full of information. He's a race car driver. He's done this a lot. I know he hasn't won yet, but if you make it feel different, then you're creating something that isn't there. Just let him do what he does, be a race car driver, and give him an idea of what he has in front of him for laps left. As we see Sammy Smith, I think, making a 2nd trip to pit road. He was just on pit road at lap 143. Now we're lap 148, so 5 laps later. Remember, this team had to pit a 2nd time earlier to put lug nuts back on the left front. Now it looks like they're changing tires, so I don't know if he thinks he has a flat or a loose wheel, Dave.
Steve, a loose wheel, this time on the right side, so it's tough day on pit road for this crew.
And this is on green flag. This is a 25-point penalty. We talk a lot about points. What does that look like? This right here is maybe 15 to 25 points. So in the grand scheme of what they're trying to accomplish, this is making it much more difficult with only 2 laps or 2 races remaining in this round.
It is a team sport. A lot of conversation about the mistakes that Sammy Smith has been making throughout the year, but here a team problem. Sammy's cleaned it up in the playoffs, now having issues on pit road.
Couple mistakes from Daniel Dye in the 44 and Raja Karuth in the 45, both speeding when they came to pit road under this most recent pit cycle. Under 51 laps remaining, and out front Riley Herbst has a 7.5-second lead over Cole Custer. Chandler Smith, Nemechek, and Kyle Sieg, the top 5. Riley Herbst out front has an 8-second lead, and again at the conclusion of today's Xfinity Series race, we'll go straight to Petit Le Mans from Road Atlanta. That one will go into the night as the last race for IMSA. That's currently on Peacock. Tomorrow it's countdown to green and Cup Series playoff race number 1 of this 3rd round, and that will be on NBC. And immediately following the race, we will have NASCAR America post-race that will stream on Peacock. Sheldon Creed just goes a lap down. You see Kyle Sieg dropping through the lineup there as he had stayed out on the racetrack, now has pitted. And so the top 15 have all been to pit road and have had their service. Pretty tight racing right around the Allgaier, Mayer, Austin Hill area. Take a look at that.
Yeah, they all did a really good job not to make contact or get anybody turned around right there. Just got to remember, there's 0 grip. They're all sliding across the racetrack, and they're all controlling their cars well enough not to run into each other. And this battle right here, it's been going on before the pit cycle. The one of Sam Mary has been within 10, 20 car lengths of Justin Allgaier. Just now starting to put himself in position where he might be able to try to make a move on the 7 car. Made some adjustments to try to free up Allgaier. It seems to, maybe the car's turning better, but it hasn't really added much speed to the car to be able to maintain this position.
Let's do a playoff driver through the field, and we'll kick it off with Cole Custer and Marty Smith.
How about Marty Snyder? Right now, Cole Custer in 2nd position. And, you know, they have been no worse than 6 here in the playoffs. 19 stage points, though, for Cole Custer today. They came in below the cut line. Those are critical points for them, Kim. And he goes to Miami next week, where he's won before. So they have a lot of confidence after this run going to Miami next week.
And running behind Cole Custer in the 3rd position is Chandler Smith. And when I talked to Chandler and the team this morning, they felt really good about today after what they had in practice yesterday. They said they brought something similar to what they had in the spring where they finished 3rd. Chandler told me he studied the spring race on the plane out here just to make sure he was extra confident. Right now we're seeing a great run from him in the 3rd position. John Hunter Nemechek running in the 4th position. What a run for him today after starting from the rear after not having qualified his car yesterday. They were really confident because of the speed they've had at mile-and-a-halfs all year long. Remember, he's won the last 2 races on mile-and-a-halfs, and he finished 6th in stage 1, 3rd in stage 2, so racking up those points, putting him in a good points position right now, Marty.
Kim, considering their mile-and-a-half program so far this year with just 1 finish inside the top 30, this is a terrific day for Sam Mayer in the top 5 right now. But the flip side of that, just 3 stage points, and right now 17 below the cut line. Marty Lindley told me earlier this week, we're so close to being in a must-win situation. Despite this good day, they could have some tough roads ahead at Miami and Martinsville. Justin Allgaier has absolutely struggled with the handling of his race car for the second half of this race. He just told Jim Pullman a moment ago, I need much more of that last adjustment you gave me. Way too tight for Allgaier, but in the 6th position, Dave.
When will the 21 team start putting the heat on? No playoff points added in the round of 12. No laps led in the round of 12. That stays the same today. Austin Hill, thankfully, had 6 stage points throughout the day, but that's been the best as he's had an ill-handling car and a couple of troubles on pit road, Kim.
Well, speaking of ill-handling cars, Sheldon Creed has not had the car he wanted all day long. 13th position currently, the first car a lap down. He said it's been bouncing between loose and tight depending on where they are in the run and where he is on the racetrack. Again, just not to his liking, and they have earned no stage points today, Dave, which means depending on how this race plays out, they will be buried in the points as they head to Homestead, Miami next week.
Sammy Smith earned 10, Kim, and that was a good thing because they had another problem on pit road. It may have been the left rear again, but it was really hard to tell. The team was looking over all the lug holes in the wheels just to see what they could see. Sammy definitely knew there was vibration there. They couldn't see much with this 18.
And with 37 to go, Riley Herbst is putting such an impressive pace on the field. He's lapped all the way up to the 13th guy, only 12 cars in the lead lap. And that's important for the 98 because continuing to lap cars makes the decision and the pressure on a late pit stop, if we have a yellow, less for the crew chief, right? For sure, if we see a yellow, you're going to want to put tires on. Most of the leaders have a set of tires left, except for someone who may have had an issue or a loose wheel and burned up the extra set. So to guarantee the best finish, I know you want to win, but the best finish is just to eliminate as many cars as possible on the lead lap. Next up, Josh Berry.
Fight for second, which is 10 seconds behind Riley Herbst right now, is Cole Custer and Chandler Smith.
Yeah, John Hunter Nemechek's right there, too, in the screen. So while these two battle, might present an opportunity for that 20. This 00 slides up the racetrack, blocks a 16, 16 to the inside. Custer struggling with the balance. Here comes the 20 car as well.
So John Hunter Nemechek's going to take advantage of a loose car, and Cole Custer falls back into that 4th position now. So it's Riley Herbst, Chandler Smith, John Hunter Nemechek, 1, 2, 3. Marty.
Yeah, you heard Cole Custer say, Rick, just way too free right now. And Junior, you know, Cole Custer's so good at running the wall. When you're loose like that, especially on entry, you can't run the wall like Cole Custer can normally do. So they're struggling with a very loose race car after leading 62 laps early on.
Yeah, when nobody has run the wall since stage 1. I mean, the whole field is on the bottom of the racetrack. That's basic. That's kind of a tire thing. You know, this tire is just not reacting in a way where they're finding much speed running the top of the racetrack. It doesn't put a ton of rubber down, and so the track stays relatively green, and that bottom groove is probably still providing enough grip that you can't make the time at the top of the racetrack. You don't see any rubber being put down just outside of that bottom groove, and so, and Custer being loose, you got to back up the entry of the top and then gas it up and fly around the exit. That's how you make speed on the top of the racetrack. And if you're loose, you have to go in so much easier. And you never really can make up the time lost on entry being loose in up high.
11 seconds now, the gap from Herbst back to Chandler Smith.
And Rick, you know, trying not to Rick Allen poor Riley Herbst right here and jinx the guy, but
don't say it.
No, listen, what I want to say, though, is 11 seconds. Of course, it would be more exciting if this was the battle for the lead. But in every other sport, you know, this great performances are celebrated, right? If it's a 10-shot win in a golf tournament, right, Junior? Or if a quarterback has this best day and throws 5 or 6 touchdowns. And I think it's Riley Herbst has earned this. He has put the effort in, put the grind in, and fallen short. So regardless how the race turns out, this is a winning type performance. You said it, Rick. An over 11-second lead, a green flag cycle, some restarts. Remind everyone, he started last. Yeah. They had to make repairs to this car to make sure NASCAR was okay with it because he had a little damage. This car went from last to first and has led 73 laps.
Dave. And just think of what the summer has been like for Riley Herbst. Didn't make the playoffs, really thought he would, had a lot of speed, but still hasn't won his first race yet. Remember talking to him after Darlington, a race he thought he could win, and he was so disappointed. They'd already had disappointment at Daytona with a mechanical issue. Lots of changes to this team. The crew chief got promoted, and so he had a new guy on the box for him, so he had to deal with that. But he's been working through all of that, and he was very calm when I sat down and talked to him for about 20 minutes at Kansas. He said he believed things would get better. They made some changes internally. They've gotten the race car better and more consistent, and now Riley's showing what he can do when they get it right for him.
Yeah, Riley Herbst is such a nice young man. Had an opportunity to spend a lot of time with him, and he's just a well-rounded guy. He's worked really, really hard to just get better and better and better. He doesn't take anything for granted, works very hard. And, you know, I think about this team, you know, they went through that stretch where they had so many mechanical failures back to back to back, and that could have torn this team apart. It really could have, because they were in the midst of a championship battle when those things were happening. And it's great to see them coming back together next year because the speed's there, right? They have fast race cars. We're seeing it again today. We haven't seen this much speed, but they have fast race cars. This has been a good pairing between a driver and a crew chief, and they just have to get through those mistakes. And if they can, they could have long-term success.
Celebrate a blistering pace that Riley Herbst has put out here. And Riley's family is not normally from the oval racing background, but they have racing as far as in their genetics, because Riley's grandfather Jerry, his uncles Ed and Tim, and his father Troy, they were inducted into the Southern Nevada Sports Hall of Fame in 2014 for their off-road racing career. So racing's in the family, but it's not normally on ovals.
And if you're the crew chief of this 98, kind of back to that common thread we talked about. Let him know the gap he has, but don't let him off the hook. What's your car drive like, right, Jeff? What do you need? If we get a caution, the next run's only going to be half this length, 25 laps. I am on you. We are not going to be a team that gives up a great race car. We are going to keep pushing to think we're not good enough, not push into mistakes, but you cannot relax in this situation.
Do not relax in this situation. That is the worst thing you can do, in my opinion. I know you got a big lead, but it's no difference than in any other sport. You see a team start playing defense, next thing you know, the other team is putting points on the board, and all of a sudden you have a close game. To me, Junior, when I was in these situations where I had a big lead, the thing I wanted was just lap time, right? In the Cup cars, you have it on your dash. You can look and see lap time. In these cars, that communication from your crew chief or the spotter giving you a lap time, 32.50. Right? That means the next lap you need to run another 32.50, and then the next lap another 32.50. That's your goal. One lap at a time, hit that, make those lap times. That keeps you centered, and it keeps constant communication to you to let you know, hey, guys are out here, we're all behind you, we got you back. Keep communicating, like Steve said, but the main goal now is focus on lap time, because that keeps you focused on the racetrack, and that's what you're racing at the moment. It's the racetrack. It's not the competition.
Yeah, I like to tell my crew chief, you know, am I going 100%? Am I going 80, 90%? How hard am I driving the car? I'd like him to tell me what lap times they're running behind me and where they're running. You know, at this particular racetrack, are they running on the middle? You know, are they finding speed up top? Do I need to, you know, be ready for that or concerned about that late in the race if we do get a late run. Continue to give me some information. Keep the conversation going. So, Rick, you know, to the Tark's point, when the caution does come, when the field is reset, when everybody's got them tires, I'm awake, I'm alert, I'm ready to go. I got plenty of information on exactly what's happening.
And Riley definitely doesn't want to have a caution come out now with the lead that he has built up. It's 13 seconds from Riley Herbst to Nemechek. A couple laps down already is McLaughlin, and running in the 30th position. But before the race started, told the story about Jen Calandrillo. And to put a period on that, let's go to Dave.
I've watched Jen work today, and she hasn't had all the smooth pit stops she would want to, but I chatted with her about that, and she just kind of shrugged her shoulders and said, you know, that's sometimes the way it goes. They've had 3 pit stops for the 28 car. Jen has put fuel in the car every time, and just a reminder, those gas cans weigh 90 pounds when they're full and when you fuel the race car. Remember what the pit crew coach told her when she said she wanted to give it a try? He said, you're too old and you're too small. Jen said, nah, I'm going to add some muscle, and I'm going to do it, and she's done it today in a good way.
Opportunities. There continue to be opportunities in NASCAR, and Jen taking advantage of this one. Riley Herbst taking advantage of a very good day. Under 20 laps still to go here, as we see Parker Retzlaff just in front of that 16 Chandler Smith. And again, Chandler running in the 3rd position, so Retzlaff about to go down a 2nd lap.
Well, Sheldon Creed behind him. Let's remind everybody, he's not on the lead lap. So we have Herbst out to this almost 14-second lead, but then Nemechek, Chandler Smith, Custer, Mayer, Allgaier, Hill, all playoff drivers, 2nd through 7th. You know, I know they're going to all wish they had the day the 98 is having, but it's really Sheldon Creed and Sammy Smith that are going to wish that they had another shot at this. Sammy Smith had a loose wheel. They had lug nuts earlier and then a loose wheel. Sheldon Creed running 15th. So 2 playoff drivers are currently on the outside of the top 10, and those are the 2 that are currently at the bottom of the points, and minus 40 and minus 34.
Austin Hill heating things up for Allgaier now. And that is for the 6th position. Allgaier has it. Hill trying to take it away from him.
Yeah, these points matter. You know, Austin Hill came into this race 21 points to the good. As we sit now, he's 18 points to the good. You've got Homestead coming, which is a very difficult racetrack, very easy to get into the wall. And then Martinsville, which we know anything can happen at that racetrack. So every position, every point matters. 16 laps to go. Coming this time, you've got to try to get every spot you can.
Jeff, do you know what the largest margin of victory in an Xfinity Series race is here at Las Vegas?
I don't know, Rick. That's a tough question to ask me.
Well, you're the person who has it. You own the record for the largest margin of victory at Las Vegas Motor Speedway in the Xfinity Series, and it's 8.4 seconds. You beat Michael Waltrip back in March of '02.
Well, I'm not going to Rick Allen Riley Herbst, but he has got a larger lead than that at the moment. Almost 14 seconds.
Well, I'm going to make you feel good. Riley Herbst was 3 when you won that race.
Thank you, Rick. Friends like you, who needs enemies?
Allgaier right here in Hill still fighting for these points. You know, this is a point. And we saw Daniel Hemrick eliminated from the last round with 2 points. And he was 3 feet away from those 2 points at one of the stage ends. So Allgaier is feeling pretty good right at plus 20. But you have the 21 car at plus 18. You know, we don't know what's going to happen. You mentioned it, Rick. We go to Miami and then Martinsville. And you know, Miami, you have to run the fence so you can get into the wall in a blink of an eye. And then at Martinsville, I mean, we saw, you know, last laps with the driver being moved a year ago. And we have seen that consistently at the paperclip, and I would expect nothing less in a couple weeks.
Different lines here for Austin Hill and Allgaier, as Hill still trying to get that 6th spot away. Those 2 the closest on the track on the lead lap, which now only has 10 cars on the lead lap. Lane Riggs the next to potentially go down a lap.
And what a job by Lane Riggs running in 10th. I mean, when you look at someone like Lane Riggs in that 11, I'm looking at the timings on the left side. You know, he's right behind Hemrick. So you kind of, you know, there you go. You kind of judge him up against another solid car. Chandler Smith having a little bit better day. But if you got to pick one of your 3 cars that have the best day, you'd want to be the playoff car.
Yeah, and behind this battle, the 9 car, Brandon Jones, you know, they have definitely not had the year that they were hoping to have. But we're starting to see this 9 car run more in the top 10, right? It feels like nothing went right for this team early in the year. He was in the wrong place. It seemed like every single race, wreck after wreck after wreck, most of them not of his doing, and he just dug such a hole he couldn't get out of it. And it's so important for this team to build a little momentum, right? Going into the offseason. There's a championship to be won next year. I know it's a long way from next year already, but that's what a team like this is focusing on, is how can we get better so that next year we can come and take the fight to these guys.
Gap growing between Allgaier and Hill.
This is a 94-lap green flag run at a little over 30 seconds a lap. You're talking 46, 47 minutes of green flag racing. That's a tremendous amount of focus and effort. I know it's on a very hot day here in Las Vegas, but we've seen so many close calls, you know, as far as 2 and 3 wide or catching lap cars. You're running the top, running the bottom.
Great battle right here for third shaping up. Custer, who was fighting a very loose race car, settled things down, has now ran down Chandler Smith in this 16 car for colleague. Watch this race car, the 16, see if we can sort of identify some handling issues that's allowed Custer to sort of run him back down. Everybody's sliding around, everybody's out of the gas, tiptoeing on the throttle. Cars are sliding around pretty bad out there right now at this particular point of the race, and Chandler Smith just trying to hang on and keep Cole Custer behind him. Cole's drawing in. Some traffic ahead. Cole Custer to the top of the racetrack. He's got some momentum right here. Got a good run off of turn 2. Gonna turn underneath, maybe?
For third. Let's see if he can take the spot away as Cole Custer works to the bottom of the racetrack. Chandler Smith goes down there with him, maybe trying to take a little of that air off the right side.
And we're going to do 3 wide momentarily for a minute. It's bad spot for the 16. He has to lift for that outside car. It's going to allow the 00 through. Marty.
Boy, Junior, Cole Custer has been so impressive in these playoffs. Now up to third for him. And they're happy, I would think, to get through this race. He told me Las Vegas, by far my worst mile-and-a-half racetrack. And then next week he goes to Miami, his best mile-and-a-half racetrack. You throw Martinsville into that when they finished third in the spring. So you guys mentioned the big 3. Steve, do you think that Cole Custer is the guy that jumps in there and said, hey, it's not a big 3, it's a big 4 here in the Xfinity Series this year?
Well, I think Cole Custer is a Cup driver. He was in the Cup Series. He won at the Cup level. I was surprised how slow the 00 came out of the box at the beginning of this year. I expected more. I wonder how fast the cars were, but to be quite honest, Riley Herbst came out of the box okay. Now, with not only the good run of the 00 in third, but his team car dominating this race, that has to give Cole Custer a great sense of pride and confidence. He, I think, knows what he can accomplish. But now his organization, guys, is looking at a potential first third.
And again, a little over 6 laps from now, we'll be joining Petit Le Mans from Road Atlanta. Again, a very big field, the largest field in Petit Le Mans history at 52 cars. And again, you'll see about 90 minutes that will be in the dark as far as after sunset for that race. And again, that's coming up just under 5 laps to go here for the Xfinity Series race, and 14 seconds now is the gap from Riley Herbst back to John Hunter Nemechek.
And Riley Herbst now with coming to 4 to go. Now, Steve, I'm wanting to say, okay, we do not need to catch the 11 car in front of us. We can give up a second a lap, just ride around here, And that's the goal at this point. There is absolutely no need to push the car. 14 seconds and only 4 laps to go. It is now just do not make a mistake time.
Yeah, I agree. Now you have to have enough respect for your 24-year-old that he can manage that information at this point. Let him know what you have.
And Riley's sitting in that car listening to every sound going, is that new? Is that a vibration I feel? And he's praying that he doesn't hear anything from the spotter talking about a car here in the wall, any kind of an issue, a yellow flag for any reason. That's the things that drive a young driver crazy when he's coming down to the finish and possibly winning a race.
Don't need to do anything here. Just keep rolling here. Coming to 2 to go.
Some great information right there. But he's begging. He just cannot wait till he'll be able to come off of turn 4 and get to that white flag. He knows the next flag ends it, and he just wants to cross the white flag.
The 24-year-old out of Las Vegas has 138 starts, 3 seconds in his career. We talked about it earlier. It's worth mentioning again. In that playoff run with Parker Kligerman of trying to make the playoffs, Mechanical took him out. Really kind of bit his tongue. I think there was a few times he wanted to lose his mind in some of those interviews because he just was sitting on pit road with a broken race car. He's stuck behind his team, and look where they're at right now. And at that whole time, he just wanted to win a race, Rick, and here he is basically 1.5, nearly 2 miles away from his first win.
It's 1 lap to go. Presented by Credit One Bank. You're hearing the crew talk to him.
I love you so much, man. Thank you for everything, buddy.
Last 2 first-time winners, Ryan Truex at Dover, that was his home track. Sam Mayer at Road America, that was his home track. And now Riley Herbst, a Las Vegas native with 50 to 60 of his friends and family in the grandstands, are here to witness his first ever win in the Xfinity Series. Vegas native Riley Herbst in front of the grandstands. He'll win here at Las Vegas.
Thank you so much. Hell yeah, buddy. Welcome to the NASCAR Xfinity Series victory lane, man. From the back to the front.
Congratulations, man. I couldn't be prouder. Hometown win. First win. What a deal.
Oh, my God. Thank you so much.
That's his dad, Troy. Steve, you mentioned it. It was race number 139, so 139 starts in the Xfinity Series. And Riley has been knocking on the door over and over and over, but just has not been able to open it. And today it opens here in Las Vegas. So, Junior, you mentioned what happens when a tire tears up that wheel well. It looked like there was stuff flying out even from the inside of the car there as the smoke fills the cockpit, and Riley Herbst celebrates on top of the car.
Oh, he's so happy.
That is awesome. The relief.
Can't wait for this interview.
He's just going to start shedding parts now. Dave, can you catch up with him?
I'm going to try right now. We're running out of time here, Riley, so we wanted to catch up with you at this enormous moment. Can you believe what just happened?
No, oh my goodness. I love this town. I love this team. Davin and Steve-O believes in me. But I have to give a big shout out to Richard Boswell because I wouldn't be the person I am or the race car driver without him. But I can't thank Monster Energy enough. Mitch Covington, Dave Gallen. Everybody said that I couldn't do it, and those 2 people stuck behind me my whole career. Oh my goodness, you don't even know what this means, what this takes off my chest. I can't believe it. I love you, Las Vegas. Let's go.
Hey, Riley, coming down to the final laps there, what were you hearing, what were you thinking as the laps were winding down?
Nothing, I've been working on myself and everything I can control, and I knew all I could do is all I could do, and if there was a caution, there was a caution, and we were going to race them straight up. But oh my goodness, this year was such a failure because we didn't make the playoffs, and it's so embarrassing to be in a car like this that doesn't make the playoffs and walk in the garage each week with your head down. But Davin and Stevo and all these guys on the 98 team told me to keep my head up, and we're going to go win a race, and that's what we did. And I can't fathom it. I can't thank Monster Energy enough. I can't thank my grandfather, my mom and dad. I'm so emotional. Everybody here at Las Vegas, I love you guys. This is my home. I was born and raised here, so let's go party, and we're going to celebrate tonight.
He did it at home, Rick, big time.
And he's about to grab the checkered flag for the first time. The margin of victory, almost 15 seconds between Riley Herbst and John Hunter Nemechek. What a race, what a performance put on by the 24-year-old from right here in Las Vegas, Nevada. You saw things blowing out of the driver's side there. Riley Herbst grabs career win #1